you cat. You'll be glad you.
Drives in, rights. Fire a bomb and money!
Rock Solid Sports, the only the advantage for.
All right, and welcome to Sports on Beans Bar and off the street. This is your host Chloe. Here, I also got Dylan and Tucker with me here in the studio, and down at tonight's sponsor we have Grant Cool Beans. And I will mention disclaimer before anything else: our wire in the state is super slow. Is of our grill. I'm going to ask him for an update with Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Chloe, it is a great night as always down here at Cool Beans Bar and Grill. Come down with a valid 21 and up ID, and I mean it's great. It's a great place to be. They're playing some CCR earlier than some classic Rolling Stones too. I mean, Cool Beans Bar and Grill, place to be on a Monday night, place to be any night. Come on down, say hi to me if you want. I'll be here till 8 o'clock. But yeah, Cool Beans Bar and Grill, great place to be.
Recently was better than I thought we would be able to.
They got the
but John's Cool Beans Bar and Grill, they tons of seating indoor too, full menu. I'm darts, our pool darts, TV.
But yes, we've got a few technical difficulties right now, as you can see, but we're going to work through those. We've got a good show for you tonight. We've got Dylan on. He is our hockey specialist. And yeah, we're going to get to a lot of the good things going on here with UT Sports, especially with how we closed out that series against Alabama in baseball. But right now we are working through some technical difficulties. So Chloe and Devin will hopefully be back into the StreamYard stream in a little while. But in the meantime, I am Grant Mitchell with WUTK, and we will be taking, I guess, an intermission until they are back on the stream.
talk NFL. So it'll be great.
So we're going into show here with, well, like I said, it was announced week the Tennessee season opener going to be on Thursday again, Thursday, September 1st against Ball State.
Right.
I'm hype as well. Unfortunately for me, this means I won't be getting home till like 1 in the morning. It's okay.
I'm just scheduled my classes today, not Friday, so
Oh,
it's gonna be time.
that's awesome. Okay, bad. Scheduled again versus Ball State. And of course, are you, what do I say about them game on a Thursday? So last year, this is what I said. I think that this is mainly just because they want people to watch, and there's already a lot of games happening on Saturday, and Tennessee is not a great team, but not the worst team. So I
We're
think
doing better than we were during the Pruitt era, and
We took some big
it's
strides.
been it's gotten good. I say it all the time. I remember my first impression of Coach Pruitt was him at a freshman pep rally saying, "Don't keep your expectations high, but as long as you support, we'll do okay," which is something you don't want to hear from your head coach, and that's why we've got rid of other reasons, but we all know what those are.
No, I definitely agree with like two one realize things happen and we're like, no, that was a red flag. That was like literally red
We
flag.
could have done a lot better.
Right. What do you think about game on a Thursday like last year over in Fishbowl?
Yeah, it was like Thursday, and we're getting that same energy next year on a Thursday night, which is to go forward to.
I think so. Grant, can you hear us at Cool Beans?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Awesome. We'll stick with this for now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Did you see the season this year for Tennessee ball?
I mean, really, to have him back on Tellman close on, but to have a Thursday night game, I mean, there's something special about it. It reminds me of night high school ball games. We can really the balls again.
I think so. And I want to do. I'm done this before, but your schedules were released. I did. I remember that.
You have they will listen to you have
Yeah. So first, and we got Tennessee at game. First, Tennessee.
intention
2010 was the last time.
exactly.
With the years when Alabama are at here, Knoxville, at Tennessee, looks
That's even more exciting. Just another Pittsburgh team I can check on the list to boo. And I'm sure we're all familiar with the rhyming phrase that we all chant at the Pitt game last year. We say it on the air, but you know what it is.
Yeah. What about you guys? What about you guys and Tucker?
Yeah, Pittsburgh last year they had a quarterback by the name of Kenny Pickett. He's gone now, probably a first-round draft pick. That's the good news for us. The bad news is they're bringing in a high-caliber transfer Peyton Slovis from USC to play QB. So I think that could help Pittsburgh out a little bit. And that's definitely something to watch for when we have to play them up there.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And yeah, I thought this game was super interesting just because of, Tennessee's relation with John Majors too, especially that's kind of where began of what you.
I think, last year, and Tucker, you made a great point with Kenny Pickett. Nobody expected Pittsburgh to go on the run that they did, or for Kenny Pickett to develop into the major draft prospect that he's become. So that being said, and also with how Tennessee football progressed last year, if we do anything other than win this game and show out pretty well, I'm not saying blow out Pittsburgh, because I think they still do have some remnants of last year's team, but just a convincing win over them, then a little bit of this, and maybe just show that our football team has a good number of areas to further grow in. But I think Tennessee's in good hands with Heupel, and if we properly build off of what we did this past year, then we've got a really good season ahead of us, and Pittsburgh will be a win.
Now, Tennessee versus Florida here in Knoxville. I don't know. I think that Tennessee personally is definitely able to beat Florida in their second season with Coach Heupel, but can they do it? Because there's always this mentality here even when Florida does come to Tennessee, and that Tennessee is so much better than Florida, they still lost just because I don't know. To me, it's a myth thing. Is Tennessee going to beat Florida this year?
And I'm hoping I do. Look at the schedule. I'd say it's the 2022 season's equivalent of last year's Ole Miss game, where it's a game we're capable of winning, and it's going to be hype all week. But I don't know. That we all know what happened in the Ole Miss game. Even without all of the questionable calls, it was kind of back and forth, if I remember correctly. So we'll see what happens. I think that's one I'm most excited for, because, like I said, we're capable of winning it.
Right. What about you guys?
This would be a program-defining win for Tennessee if they were to get it done. Even though Florida is down right now, they just hired a new coach. They lost their quarterback transfer portal. It's a huge win. I was there in 2016 when they did it, knocking off Florida for the first time in like 13 years, I think it was. So that energy was incredible that day. And to do that, it would be something really special. And, you go back at the end of the season, see what you did well. This would be a huge stepping stone for the Josh Heupel era.
For sure. Definitely. And I know I'm asking all these questions, and it's obviously hard to tell this early in the season. Obviously, I am calling dibs on the Monday show for all of fall, for next fall, because we get to talk about football first, and they're still talking about it on Wednesday and Friday. But I'm like, you guys, I'm sorry, but we already broke that news.
Well, the kind of beauty of it is the Monday is talking about what happened that previous weekend, and Friday's kind of reviewing it. So,
right.
Treatment.
No.
They're just neutral ground. We still love the Wednesday show.
Yes,
I'm on it. So.
But anyways, I just wanted to take a look at the schedule at a glance and new teams. It's always fun, of course, the new teams that Tennessee will be taking on. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really hoping there's really not too much to say this in this that are, like I just said, there won't be a lot to say until we see what Tennessee looks like coming out into the season against Ball State, and maybe even until they take on a team that's more, not to say in the league, but literally,
a team we won't let steamroll.
Right, like Pittsburgh. So you might not even know until September 10th this fall. So I just want to take a look at, kind of preview these games, and I just want to say I'm super excited for the upcoming season. But I have a feeling we are going to have a lot more to say about baseball that happened this weekend and head coach Tony Vitello. Yeah. So we are going to take a short break here, and then we're going to talk some Vol baseball, because it is already almost 7:20, and I have a feeling we have to talk about this Alabama series that happened this weekend. So we'll be right back to Solid Sports, rocking ears for 40 years on 90.3 The Rock.
campus. Darts, pool, games, and every day at 11 a.m. till late night. Burgers, wings, and snacks. More on Instagram, Knox Cool or Cool.com.
Support UTK on air comes from listeners and from the UTF and UT Lady Vols softball team, whose home season schedule at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium features against SEC rivals Texas A&M, Auburn, and others. Allvols.com for Lady Vols and more. All game is the support for WTK comes from Fieldhouse Social, the modern sports campus at University Commons. Fieldhouse Social serves craft fare such as burgers, wings, and more with high tops around the bar, a separate dining area, center lounge with leather chairs and couches in front of their 20-foot LED TV wall, Tennessee and Pro Sports. Fieldhouse Social is an outdoor patio with trivia twice a week and sponsors Wednesday's Rock Sports. FieldhouseSocial.com.
90.3 The Rock proudly brings Knoxville the best in new and classic independent and underground music on the Indie app. Monday nights from 8 to 10.
Smokies Baseball, the AA Southern League affiliate Chicago Cubs, whose 20 regular season schedule features 6-game homestands Tuesdays through Sundays at nearby Smoky Stadium in Kodak against the Chattanooga Lookouts, Mississippi, Hampton, and more. WK Rock Solid Sports will release baseball all season long. SmokiesBaseball.com, and a link is at WUTKRadio.com.
90.3 The Rock thanks to UT Athletic Department for their support. The 2022 Lady Vols softball season at Sherry Parker Lee State features home games against SEC rivals Arkansas, Auburn, and more. The next game for Lady Vols softball is Virginia Tech, Wednesday, April 20th, 7 p.m. Tickets at allvols.com. A link and more is at WUTKRadio.com. UT student ticket info can be found at bigortix.utk.edu. Tune in to WUTK's Rock Sports every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night for coverage. The Rock says, go Lady Vols.
The Rock thanks the Hill Bar and Grill for their support. The Hill on Forest Avenue is open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. and late. And a menu of burgers, tacos, and more. The Hill is our Thursday Munchie Madness sponsor and home of Friday's Rock Solid Sports. On Instagram at The Hill Knox. Menu at hillknox.com.
Volunteer Radio remains on the air thanks to listener donations and support from the UT Athletic Department. Making it to Omaha last season, the 2022 baseball season begins in February and runs today, featuring games with SEC rivals South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, and more at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Season group and individual game info is allvols.com. Students need to show their valid ID at the gate for entrance. Tune into Solid Sport UT coverage, and The Rock, which is coached by Welcome back to Rock Solid Sports on Monday night. This is your host here, Chloe, joined by Dylan and Tucker and Grant down at Cool Beans Avenue, just a block off the strip. And I'm going to check in with Grant super quick, see how it's going at Cool Beans tonight, see what the environment is like down there, Grant.
I'm at and another wonderful Monday night at Cool Beans Bar and Grill. So make your way down here if you can. 21 and up, valid ID.
Awesome. a bunch of great things to do down there. And it's just a bar where you can go and hang out. But like I said, you do have to have a 21 or older valid ID to enter. And yeah, there. There was a series baseballs played against Alabama this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it was a wild ride for sure. If you couldn't tell, because the head coach of the baseballs, Tony Vitello, ended up getting kicked out. And yeah, we have to dive into this. So I will say the baseballs. If you did not already know, won this series with 2 wins and 1 loss in the beginning, and it was insane. So Dylan, you were at the game.
Section is always very passionate. However, if officiating does something that upsets them, they're very vocal about it, shall we say. Exactly. But I was Empire, and he takes an absolute flop. It was pitiful, to be honest. And as we go, he got suspended, 4 games?
Yeah, it's 4 games. So if I believe my math is correct, he will be back at the second game against Florida.
Third
Game against Florida, is that right? Oh,
yep.
Shoot. Okay.
It's like I said, it was a rowdy game full of officiating being strict. Alabama's first base coach, I think his name was Jerry, because I don't know the things you find on the internet. He caused because get like that, and we lose, bad things tend to happen. We don't want to see that, because the last time that happened, we became the laughingstock of the SEC.
Right. Well, first game that had just happened before this game, where Vitello got kicked out the first of the series, and this on Easter Sunday, it was an Easter miracle. Just kidding. It was a miracle because I was there covering this game, actually, and it was the Vol won. It was at 15-4. I still thought Tennessee was going to take the series. I thought it was going to be somewhere around, I think us and the crew who was producing it, we all gave our score predictions, and mine was 8-3, something like that. Something similar to what had happened on Saturday. Thank you. But it just got better throughout the series. And I mean, what if you Tucker over there on the phone, if you have watched this whole series, what are your comments on this?
Because I think Tennessee was trending downward just a little bit after that Tennessee Tech game, but that loss, coupled with the fact that Tony Vitello and Frank Anderson both got ejected on Saturday, that definitely lit a fire for them to really build off of for the rest of the series. I didn't see Tennessee losing this series to begin with, but they definitely had a little extra motivation, and they got it.
Right, for sure. And like you said, I didn't even mention about how Tennessee was coming off a loss against Tennessee Tech. That was pretty brutal. And then when you see that Tennessee has lost in the first series game against Alabama, it's kind of makes you very pessimistic, I guess to say. When I saw that, I was thinking, oh gosh, I don't even know. I don't even know if we're going to come back after that, but we surely did. So I was glad to see the 2 wins. I think the team was very glad to, almost when I was watching them, I had to get some reactions for the broadcast and things like that. They almost just seemed relieved that it seems like they were back to normal almost, that they were relieved that they're Alabama so much on that 3rd game on Sunday. Grant, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, going off of what Tucker and you said, losing to Tennessee Tech is definitely something that you don't want to do, not to Tennessee Tech, not to besmirch the program, but that was really a showcase or an opportunity for the Volunteers to showcase all that they've done this year. They went to the game, I think, 30-1 or something along those lines. They're playing in the Smokies Stadium, and this is, of course, one of the last seasons the Smokies are in that stadium. That's a great opportunity to, again, showcase the skills and all that they've done this year from just dominating pretty much everyone that they've played. So losing that game left a pretty sour taste in their mouth, and then going in against Alabama, having them beat them. I mean, tensions have definitely got to be pretty high at that point if you're Tony Vitello as well as the rest of the coaching staff. So you go into that next game and 9-2 win when it's all said and done. But I mean, it's got to be pretty frustrating when in the first game Alabama wins and they go 1-3-6. And they're celebrating like they won the World Series. It's so that's got to be pretty annoying. But hey, still by far number 1 in the country and number 1 in the SEC. So this is just, I think, a good stepping stone for this Vols baseball team as we progress through the rest of the year. And on the Friday show, Connor made a really great point that it's good we lost versus having some struggles late season. Similar to what we had with Lady Vols down the stretch to start off great, and then they kind of, I don't want to say fell apart, but it was a lot more of a challenge for them down the stretch. And then with other great teams, New England Patriots won the Super Bowl undefeated, and they lost to the Giants. It's better to lose mid-season or early on than to have things maybe go south later on.
That's very true. And the most about it is the aspect of series, and that you can play and that if you lose in like football against a team you really want to beat, it's over. If you that to me, but like you said, it is way better that to me that the struggle was early. A lot of the best teams have struggles early. My mind goes to South Carolina losing to Missouri in the women's basketball season this year. That was kind of like what? But then of course Missouri had no in the final games in the final parts of the season, Missouri had no chance against South Carolina. It was just kind of a hiccup there in the season for them. But hopefully that's what this is, and hopefully the baseballs are going to be up to good things coming up. But in all seriousness, overall season, continuing on down the road and looking at the schedule that the baseballs have ahead of them, how are you guys feeling right now in the season? There's obviously still a lot to go, and there's some random midweek games coming up after this. But then they have Florida to take on and some other SEC rivals. How are you guys feeling about Vol baseball just in general at this point in the season? And what do you think that they're going to Omaha?
Well, it's hard not to feel good about them right now. I think we're definitely going to lose at least a couple more games. That's just the reality of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell with the SEC. The series do bring me a little bit like, say, Florida and Mississippi State, especially
Right.
Mississippi State on the road.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, it's a tough environment for sure. And then we've got a couple more ranked opponents at home in Georgia, Auburn. Although I don't think should can win.
Hope not. And State has had some hiccups in their earlier season as well, but it's Mississippi State. It's Mississippi State baseball. There's always that chance there. So we will have to see, but I'm super excited the three girls after it made a story, so I can't, it's not all anger anymore. But yeah, so of course series against Kentucky are coming up, series against Georgia, and series against Mississippi State, and then a few little random guys in there. So I do have to mention Drew Beam pitching on Sunday was a big aspect of what won Tennessee the game. It was amazing. I cannot believe that kid is a freshman. It's from down the road, not really, down the state in Murfreesboro, right? So super great game, super awesome to watch. And yeah, it was Vol baseball is the talk of the campus, and it's what you should be going down to see at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. And I do believe if you stay tuned to our show, or not our show, but this station in general, you may have some chances to win some tickets. There's going to be some point in the rest of the season where you will have an opportunity for some tickets. So we have more coming up, hockey, of course, and then we're going to just going to give you an update on softball. Devin is at the softball game right now, and I'm going to check in on that super quick. But after that, we got some hockey to talk about, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Hey, Knoxville. This is WUTK alum and voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith. Now to more of my favorite sports show, Rock Solid Sports, on 90.3 The Rock.
Volunteer radio stays on thanks to Cool Beans, the 21-up college sports bar next to campus on Lake Avenue, a block off the strip. Cool Beans has 25 rotating taps and balls, HGTVs everywhere, along with darts, pool, and arcade games. Open every 11 a.m. to late night. Burgers, wings, and sandwiches, Vol card accepted. Cool Beans hosts Rock Solid Sports every Monday night at 7. Trivia Tuesdays, Bingo Thursdays. More on Instagram at Knox Cool Beans or CoolBeansBar.com.
Support to keep WUTK on air comes from listeners and from the UT Athletic Department and the UT Lady Vols softball team, whose home season at Parker Lee Stadium features games against SEC rivals Texas A&M, Auburn, and others. AllVols.com for Lady Vols softball tickets and more. UT students need a valid UT ID for admission to all home games. WTK's Rock Solid Sports provides UT softball coverage. Volunteer Radio wishes the 2022 Lady Vols softball team good luck. They could return to the College Softball World Series.
WTK thanks the nonprofit UT Office of Sustainability for their support. Earth Day is Friday, April 22nd, and WTK is celebrating at the Student Union Plaza with the 2022 Earth Day Fest from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Volunteer Radio will be broadcasting live on the plaza starting at 5 p.m. just before the Free Store's Sustainable Fashion Show at 7 p.m. The festival runs until 10 p.m. with ways for all of us to protect the environment. Grab WTK stickers and register to win tickets to UT baseball games in the Southern Sky Music Festival starring the Dirty Governors Earth Day Fest, April 22nd at the Student Union Plaza from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. with 90.3 The Rock.
The Rock thanks the Hill Bar and Grill for their support. The Hill on Forest Avenue is open 7 days a week at 11 a.m. until late night for dining indoors or on the expanded patio. The Hill has a variety of appetizers and a full menu of wings, burgers, tacos, and more. The Hill is our Thursday Madness sponsor and home of Friday's Rock Solid Sports. On Instagram at The Hill Knox. Menu at thehillknox.com.
Train to 11 every Monday night with the Funeral Directory. It's heavy metal on WUTK's longest running specialty show. Sponsored by the Concourse, live music venue, 4328 North Broadway, concourseknox.com. The Funeral Directory, every Monday night from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. on 90.3 The Rock.
Rock Top. I'm John Wilson for UNML Sports Talk and the Vol Network, and a proud alum of WUTK and the Sports Update. You're tuned into Volunteer Radio, rocking ears for 40 years.
Volunteer Radio remains on the air thanks to listener donations and support from the UT Athletic Department. Remains to Omaha last season, the 2022 baseball ball season begins in February and runs into May, featuring games with SEC rivals South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, and more at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Season, group, and individual game info is at allvol.com. Students need to show their valid UT ID at the gate for entrance. Tune into Rock Solid Sports for UT coverage, and The Rock is Coach Vitello and the Baseballs. Good luck on the dive season.
Support for WTK comes from Fieldhouse Social, modern sports bar next to campus at University Commons. Fieldhouse Social serves American craft such as burgers, with high bar, separate dining area, and a center lounge with leather chairs and couches. In front of the 23-foot LED TV wall for Tennessee imports. Fieldhouse Social is an outdoor video with trivia twice a week and sponsors Wednesdays rock solid sports. FieldhouseSocial.com.
Volunteer Radio remains there thanks to support from Tennessee Smokies Baseball, the Southern League affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, whose 2022 regular season schedule features 6-game homestands Tuesdays through Sundays at nearby Smoky Stadium against the Chattanooga Lookouts, Mississippi Braves, Birmingham Barons, and more. UTK's Rock Solid Sports will cover Smokies baseball all season long. Baseball.com, and a link is at WUTK.com.
Welcome back to Rock Sports on Monday night, sponsored by Cool Beans Bar and Grill, just to walk off the strip, 87 Lake Avenue, your game day and post game day destination. Mitchell's down at Cool Beans tonight. Grant Mitchell, tell us how it's going.
It is great down here. You know, we have people playing cool, and they've got Carry On My Wayward Son playing. I don't know if that's the exact name of the song, but you know what it is. And yeah, it's great down here. I mean, Cool Beans Bar and Grill. You know, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it's my favorite bar on campus, and I absolutely love it. It's just great to come down here. It's a great chill vibe, and yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
Cool Beans Bar and Grill, come down here tonight or any other night.
Yeah, you're of age, so I'm assuming it's allowed. No, that was totally a joke. Like Grant said, it is his favorite bar on campus. It's super chill. I'm there for the show before, and it's really a fun time. It was by myself talking on the radio, but it was good to be there because, especially when I was nervous in COVID last year, it was the height of COVID and I was down there. It's not one of those super crowded bars. You do have to have a 21 or older valid ID to get in, unless you were me, who was hosting a show that is sponsored by it. But it's super fun. Your game day, post game day destination, darts, pool, games, TVs, and like a full menu and everything you could ever want. Cool Beans on 1817 Lake Avenue. Before we get into hockey really quick, I did want to talk about some your number 14 ranked Lady Vols softball team. They're having a game right now, actually, and that's why Devin is not on the show because he is down there right now. I'm trying to get the live score, but it's against Texas A&M, and this is a big game because Texas A&M, this is their third game of the series. The Vols have already pretty much clinched the series they've won the first two games of Texas A&M, and now tonight they're playing the third, so hopefully they'll be able to sleep right. And then after that, we got Virginia Tech coming up, and then a game against East Carolina, see Greensboro, another one against East Carolina, Liberty, and then a series against Ole Miss, which is never easy, and then a series against Auburn. And the current score right now is 2-0 Tennessee.
Yay.
So that's really good. Really good. You know, they're going to be able to get all three wins out of this series. So Lady Vols softball, definitely go down there to see them at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium. It's really close to the soccer field and really close to UT parking and all those things right off Neyland. So yeah, and I know that we also give away a lot of Lady Vols softball tickets, so you have no excuse not to go, especially if you tune in, and you could win one in the upcoming weeks if we have them. So yeah, and let's get into some hockey here. Just wanted to talk about Lady Vols softball because they do deserve it. So let's get into. I know you're going to talk more about Ice Bears on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But we still need to talk about that. This Ice Bears.
Unfortunately, 2-1 series loss against Rogue to eliminate us from the playoffs. Obviously, it's very depressing. We were keeping our hopes up throughout the entire year. We broke the SPHL record for winningest season. Hate to admit this, but I can't remember the name of the trophy, but the SPHL's equivalent of the President's Cup. Whoever has the best record in the league, that. But yeah, it's obviously disappointing. We've been talking to Coach Carr all year, and just seeing the passion of the fan base and the team after the game, even though they lost. The players were very nice to everyone, I guess. And yeah, I always said that hockey in the South is a little unusual, being the fact I'm from the North, but it works. Anyways, speaking of hockey, the Predators, other team question in the South that surprisingly worked. 4-3 win over Chicago Saturday. Very depressing 8-3 loss to St. Louis Sunday. I think St. Louis they scored a lot in the second period, and not to sugarcoat it, but the Preds blew that one. They're playing Calgary tomorrow at 10 Saturday and versus Minnesota Sunday. So look forward to that.
That's a big one.
That's going to be painful to watch.
Yeah.
They're back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. Right. They're absolutely stacked. I don't want to say they're a top cup contender, but it's possible, and an unfortunate reality we all have to prepare to face. Predator news. This is kind of sad. Broadcaster Terry Crisp's 6-year career was celebrated Sunday night. Included establishment of Crisp College Scholarship Fund for, quote, deserving hockey player who makes a difference in the Nashville community. But obviously that's a deal. The Capitals back home have something like that. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I think every NHL program needs to sponsor scholarships for youth hockey athletes going on to college, because it's a great sport, but it's also an expensive sport. They all renamed a sheet of ice at their practice facility, the Terry Crisp Ice Rink. So yeah, that's cool. Do any of you watch Predators or even listen to the broadcast for it? Or
yeah, I'm from Nashville, so of course I know a thing or two about Terry Crisp, and he a lot of fans love him when they watch. I guess what is it, Marquee now, bought out Fox Sports South. So yeah, I definitely remember seeing a lot on the broadcast, and they definitely won't be the same without him.
Yeah, and I remember when I was at the Stadium Series a few months ago, he was just hanging out in the I guess festival grounds, just taking pictures with people, having a good time. He wasn't at a booth or anything. He was just among the people. And you like that in a local celebrity. Right. But moving on, so we're going to talk about the Capitals. 7-3 loss to Toronto last Thursday. Austin Matthews is fantastic. 8-4 win over Montreal Saturday. They're playing in Colorado tonight at 10. Should be exciting. Colorado's been very hot. They are in Vegas Wednesday and in Arizona Friday. Those should be wins, I'd say. At least definitely Arizona. Last time I checked, they're in last place. And that whole organization is just a whole mess. But they're moving their arena to Arizona State. It said like 7,000 capacity arena, which is nowhere near NHL size, but it's an act of desperation. Plus, it'd be cool to have the Coyotes back in the actual Phoenix Tempe metropolitan area, because Glendale is, from what I've heard, kind of difficult to get to. Other Caps news: we clinched the playoffs. That's exciting. I'm ready to be disappointed again.
Well, you never know.
We had that one time. I'm wearing the hat to represent it, but we'll see how it goes. It's still too early to make playoff predictions. I'm going to have to see who we play and who other matches are around the league, I guess. We talked about this in the group chat, and it's kind of funny. Macklemore and Marshawn Lynch are now minority owner of the Seattle Kraken. Marshawn Lynch celebrated by doing with the Kraken Starbucks Zamboni the ice at their practice
That sounds
facility.
like an Onion
Only he could do
headline.
that.
It sounds fake, but
Wait, so Macklemore, is he like a hockey fan? Wait, he's from Seattle.
he
isn't
is. Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense.
He's
I
a
guess.
big supporter of the Seahawks. Now he's a supporter of the Kraken. I'm pretty sure he performed at like their opening fan fest for their first game, which obviously expansion teams are a big deal. Looking at you, Vegas, from the 2017-2018 season. Unfortunately, no one will ever live up to what they did.
Preds gave the Kraken first win. That's fun.
They did. I do remember that. What else do I got? Mentioned him earlier. Austin Matthews is injured, listed as day-to-day. Obviously disappointing for Toronto. I think they clinched a playoff spot already. Should be good, but having I'd get not even their top guy. The top guy in the league right now, hurt is really crappy to see. I know I have him on my fantasy team, and I'm in the finals, so I'm very concerned. Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin is out for the season. Got muscle surgery, so unfortunate. Detroit struggled a lot with injury over the past season. Early on, Jacob, former Capital, love him, was out for a while. So it's been really hard to watch Detroit over the past few years. I remember they went on, I want to say 25-year playoff appearance streak, not win streak. But that was broken a few years ago. And as of right now, unfortunately, I think Pittsburgh has the longest consecutive playoff appearance streak, 16. And then finally, I guess, St. Louis's Vladimir Tarasenko, Minnesota's Kevin Fiala, and Edmonton's Mike Smith were named NHL.com's 3 stars of the week. Obviously, big names for each organization. Minnesota's been blowing up lately, actually, with success of Marc-Andre Fleury, who they got from Chicago during the deadline. Vladimir Tarasenko has always been great. It was on the cover of Shell a few years ago, and he got his Hallmark Christmas ornament. So those are 2 definite signs of a talented player. And Edmonton's Mike Smith, I know they haven't been doing too great this past year, but as long as he's getting the acknowledged, he's doing his best to keep together. You appreciate that.
Okay, I have a dumb hockey question.
No such thing.
What? What? Why? Okay, Montreal is the Canadiens, right?
Yes.
And Toronto is the Maple Leafs,
Yep.
right? So is Montreal? Why are they the Canadiens? Because Toronto is also in Canada.
There is one dumb hockey question. I'm just kidding. I don't know. The real translation is, I never meant this in the serious context. Pardon my French. Les habitants de Canada, which means the inhabitants of Canada. So that's why their name is the Habs.
Oh.
And then the Maple Leafs, I don't know. It's the State Leaf, and they're in Toronto.
I know, which is funny. Like, what if we had it? Well, I guess we do have teams called like the Nationals, right?
Well,
Things
to
like
be
that.
fair, they're in C, which is the
Which is
nation's
the capital.
which is the same thing with the Washington Capitals.
Right.
And I guess for Montreal, which Montreal isn't the capital of Canada, I'm pretty sure. Canadian geography
It's
is
Ottawa. Ottawa's
okay.
the capital.
Good. I didn't make
They're the
myself look
Senators.
stupid. Yes, which I guess also makes sense given the fact that it's the location of Canada. But Montreal Canadiens would have made sense if it was its capital. But alas, they're one of the original 6 teams. They got first dibs on whatever name they wanted. That's how it works, I guess.
Canadians is also spelled with an E. If I'm not mistaken. That Canadians is.
At the end, yes. I'm pretty sure. I think it's just the French spelling of it. Like I said, Montreal is predominantly French-speaking. So they throw in all of that fun stuff. I know they do their PA announcing in both English and French. And if you watch the game on TV, you can watch either broadcast in whatever language.
That's really like how do they do 2 different languages at one time?
Well, they don't do it at the same time. They just like this happened in English, and then however you say this happened in French.
That's okay. That's really interesting. Dang, you learn something new every day, and we're learning more about hockey because we should. learn more about sports that we don't know about. So the person who does know about it doesn't just come on here and talk about it by themselves.
Yeah.
It's okay. I do it in the summer with WNBA too.
Oh, it's fair enough.
Anyways, now Brian is on the show. And he knows about WNBA actually.
That's good. I know that the Mystics are pretty good. I just saw an article about that. Hang on, let me find it. Della Don making progress. Not full participant in practice. Team rest her strategically during season. That's less than. Actually, that's pretty optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never want to see your top player hurt. She's one of the names that I know is very good.
Yeah. For sure. So to anyone on this, I challenge you to turn on your ESPN notifications for things you don't usually care about, so you can learn about, because I'm all for that. But I am going to turn it over to Grant here, actually, because something that is a sport that I need to turn on my ESPN notifications on for, I think they actually are already on, I just don't read them, is, so I just disproved my point there, sorry, is NBA, because we are in the playoff season for NBA, and Grant is our NBA dude, or one of them. We have quite a few, but Grant is one of the guys, and I wanted Grant to talk a little bit about that and about his opinions on how that is looking.
As Chloe, it's a very, very exciting NBA postseason already. The play-in game, even though not everybody loved it at first, and I wasn't a huge fan, it built us some great matchups. That's taking on the Cavs and beating them and getting into the postseason that way. And then you had the Timberwolves beating the Clippers, the Hawks beating the Hornets, the Pelicans beating the Spurs, and then the Hawks doing their second play-in game to confirm their Eastern standing and getting to see the East by beating the Cavs, and the Pelicans the same, but for the Western Conference by beating the Clippers. So those were great games right off the bat. A lot of narratives going into the postseason. One of the main right now is Luka Doncic missing the first game of the Dallas Mavericks series against the Utah Jazz. They did lose to the Jazz, and also being expected to miss the second game with the strain that he got in the final game of the regular season. So for Dallas Mavericks, that's one team that a lot of people were really excited watching this year. I mean, Luka Doncic has been a perennial MVP candidate. So him being in, basically like the entire team being out, no offense to the other players. There's some good players there as well. Spencer Dinwiddie and others. But Luka Doncic being out, it's really not even a competition in my opinion. I think the Jazz are going to take the series if Doncic doesn't come back in health, or pretty darn close to it in game 3. So again, Jazz leading that series 1-0 right now. And then the Timberwolves getting a surprise win over two-seeded Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies this year were surprising out of the NBA that people thought was going to make the postseason, maybe mid-tier, but they dominated it. They finished with the second best record in the Western Conference. I think also the second best record in the NBA, which is incredible. But Timberwolves showing up and getting that huge win in one really sets the tone. And this is a Timberwolves team that could really possibly be a dark horse to make a run this postseason. They've got a good lineup, and they have a big man in Karl-Anthony Towns that can shoot a three-point and also dominate in the paint if he so decides. So that's a very versatile team. And then moving down to Philadelphia 76, I believe they are tonight. Their second game against the Raptors. They crushed the Raptors in game 1, 131-111. And I think the Sixers are going to take this one full in 4 or 5 games. The Philadelphia 76ers traded for James Harden earlier this season, and they have really turned into a true super team since then. The Nets, who got Ben Simmons in exchange, have yet to even see Ben Simmons grace the court. And that Nets team, which, collectively, they get some really good AARP discounts from how old they are. They lost 114-115 to Boston in game 1. I think that's going to be a tight series, even though Boston has the number 1 ranked defense and the defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart, because they lost Robert Williams, who has been an integral part of their defense being number 1 this year. But Grant Williams will certainly be looking to make a splash this postseason as he plays a similar role on the team, Robert Williams, and has been another big part of that defense. So Nets and Celtics, that will be a close series, but I think the Celtics are going to edge out the Nets and Kevin Durant. And of course, one of the storylines there is that Kyrie Irving, who played with the Boston Celtics before kind of going back on his promise that he'd be a Celtic for life, flipped on the Celtics fans. And this is after earlier in the season where he was stomping on the Celtics logo. So, yeah, there's a lot of blood. It's just a great matchup. And then moving down the list, going over to the Bucks and Bulls, Milwaukee is leading that one 1-0 right now. And the Bulls have had trouble against teams that are over 500 this year. But I think the Bulls are really wanting to put those rumors to rest. And they gave a defensive battle in that first game, losing 86-93. If they can turn on the Jets here in the next game, I think the Bulls have a deeper roster than the Bucks and could give the Bucks an early exit. But the Phoenix Suns over in the West, that's the team right now to watch out of who's going to be in the finals. I really don't see anybody else that can realistically take that conference right now. I mean, again, Grizzlies have done a great job this season, and I think they've got next in terms of being a dynasty. Now that Golden State has, had their time in the sun. But this year it's just the Suns. Last year they were up 3-2 on the Bucks and ended up losing in 7. And they're coming off a tenure where they were losing a lot of games and they were having a lot of bad seasons. And now they've got, I think, the deepest team in the NBA. Honestly, the best lineup in the league, and they're unstoppable. Chris Paul is playing great basketball, and he's in his mid-30s, getting into his late 30s. Just one of the greatest point guards ever, if not the best. And just a lot of great games going on. Right now, we have the Raptors and Sixers. Sixers going. Raptors are down by 1 point. It's Sixers 19-18 first quarter, so there's plenty of time to come in that one. But I think Sixers are going to win this one again, win the series in 4 to 5 games. And 2 other games that are coming up today, later in the evening, Jazz and Mavericks, game 2 there. So if the Mavericks win that one, that's a huge victory for them because, again, they're without Luka Doncic. And for the Jazz, that would just be a gut-wrenching loss. And then game 2 for the Nuggets versus the Warriors. Golden State is leading that series right now, and they beat up the Nuggets in game 1, 123-107. And I think the Warriors just have too much firepower offensively for them to really be able to sufficiently defend them. But yeah, that is your NBA news right now for the most part. And if you're really looking forward to seeing more Kyrie Irving versus the Boston, I am on the court playing a pretty meaningful role for them. That is going to be Wednesday at 7 p.m. Bucks or Celtics versus Nets, and that is the NBA right now.
Awesome! We should have your own little NBA with Grant.
I get my own hockey time, so
yeah,
might as well give him some time.
No, that was great. Thanks for the update. Again, super excited to turn on the TV once again. Like I said, I'm not a huge NBA fan, but when I see VFLs like he's Grant Williams playing for the Celtics, I love him so much. I love Grant Williams. And that's all I'm just kidding. No, I seriously almost asked him to my prom because he went to UT here my senior year or my junior year because my boyfriend had just broken up with me. And I was like, should I DM Grant Williams and ask him to my prom? But anyways, this has been Rock Solid Sports. And on that note, this has been Rock Solid Sports. Thanks for tuning into tonight's show to talk about hockey, baseball, and so much more. Thanks for tuning in. Sponsored by Cool Beans, 17 Lake Avenue, a block off the strip. We'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in onto Radio 90.3 The Rock, Knoxville's home for classic alternatives.
Broadcasting from the shadows of Neyland Stadium and Rockeneers for 40 years. We are WTK 90.3 FM, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Lives.
Volunteer Radio Inc. locally owned the Tomato Head for the long time sponsorship, the Indie Aisle. Tomato Head features